Okay, the dolls needed some help, and that is what I am here for. I'm your fairy godmother, and I'm here to guide you through your journey. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Victoria, this is Rosie, and she is so fast today. Oh my god. If you are unfamiliar with me and my channel, my name is Victoria Rose. I am a 24-year-old woman of transgender experience, and I make mostly LGBT content here on YouTube. So if you are not already subscribed and a part of our family, what are you doing? The button's right down there. Make sure that you follow me on all my social media in the description box down below. Whew, that was a mouthful. I've done a lot of videos like this in the past where you guys have sent me questions and I have answered them or given you advice or whatever else you need in your transition. It really helps to have someone that's been through it that can give you the advice that you would need if you are trans, if you're questioning, if you're gender fluid, gender queer, any of those sorts of things. I have a lot of firsthand experience and I'm here to give you that on a silver platter. So I asked you guys on my Instagram to send me any questions that you have about transition, any advice that you need about my transition, about your transition, whatever. And y'all really pulled through. So I'm going to be answering some of these right here. And if you want to participate in a future Q&A or advice video or whatever, make sure that you follow me on Instagram because that's where I do all of my interactive content. There are so many questions, so we gotta just jump into them. But before we do that, there is a word from our lovely sponsor, Catch Beauty. As a lot of you know, I have struggled so much with my body hair and my facial hair removal process, as so many trans girls have. With Catch Beauty's at-home IPL laser hair removal device, you can perform your own laser hair removal at home on your entire body. I personally use it on my arms and my legs, and I have seen a tremendous difference. I used to have to shave every single day, and if I didn't, I would have ingrown hairs and stubble, and it was really, really bad. Now, like, I'm a brunette, as you see, and my arm hair used to be pretty dark also. The only remaining hairs are all like blonde, and they don't bother me at all, so I don't shave my arms anymore. I've been using it for a few years now. I was very consistent with my usage when I first got it, and now because it worked, I just do like once a month or so for touch-ups, and that isn't even necessary. I just like to be like extra smooth. You can get salon quality results at a fraction of the price and all at once. It's in the comfort of your own home. This handset is the most effective, affordable, pain-free, and convenient way of removing your hair permanently. They have made it their mission to help trans girls just like me along their transitions, even in the hairiest parts of their transitions. I feel so honored to be part of their campaign. So whether you are a trans girl or just a viewer that is looking for some permanent hair removal, Catch Beauty is the device for you. If you are interested, please check out the link in the description box down below, and you can use the code ROSE to get money off of your order. Thank you so much to Catch Beauty for sponsoring this portion of today's video, and without further ado, let's jump on into the questions. Okay, first question, starting off strong, is how do you change your name? So I changed my name when I was like 15, 16, I think, and my parents did that with me. Essentially, it's gonna vary state to state, country to country. For me, I'm in the United States, and at the time I was living in Rhode Island, so we had to make an appointment at the town hall with probate court. And essentially, you go there, you present your name change, explain why you're changing your name, and it gets filed pretty quickly. You have to like go through and change your birth certificate, your license, your healthcare stuff, your insurance information. There's a lot that goes into it, but it's obviously worth it and it's necessary. What would you suggest to start with first, social transition or medical transition? I think that just depends on your level of necessity and where you are in life. If you're somewhere where you're concerned about how people are going to perceive you, if you're in high school, if you're at work and you're nervous about bullies or being fired, whatever, then I would say medical first, because you can just take, like, think Caitlyn Jenner. She's been on estrogen for years before coming out so that she could develop as a woman for the most part and then come out and make major changes. So if that's easier for you, then do that. But otherwise, I think as soon as you're ready to tell people and to start getting on hormones, just tell people, because the sooner you do it, the better. How do I start if I don't have a lot of money? So transition is expensive. I mean, outside of surgeries and hormones and doctor's visits, there's also buying a whole new wardrobe. There's growing your hair out and getting products. There's getting makeup, there's getting nails. There's so much that goes into it. Nowadays, a lot of insurance companies cover a lot. So meet with your doctor. If you can, try and find like a trans wellness center or an LGBT center, because there's a lot of donations that get brought there, whether it's makeup or clothes or whatever. And also do thrift stores for all of your clothes. There's a lot of really cheap options to get you to where you want to be. But don't cut corners when it comes to surgery. Don't just go somewhere because that's the cheapest option. Take the time, save up, and then get what you want. How do you know if you're actually passing well versus just being hyped up by friends? That is too real for so many trans girls. Oh my God, myself included. Whenever people look at me on the street or whatever with my fiance now, I feel like they're looking at me because they're clocking me, or they think that I'm ugly, or they just assume that I'm trans. Because my whole life I transitioned in high school and people knew me in my hometown. People knew me wherever I went, and people were looking at me because I was trans. But now that's not the case. Asking maybe your closest friend that isn't afraid to tell you what you need to hear. For me, that's Jillian. You've met her a million times in this channel. But generally people aren't looking to spot trans people. So if you're not getting a ton of stares, if you are being told by your friends that you're fine, chances are you're fine. You gotta just live your life at some point. I start HRT today. What advice do you have when first starting out? Don't miss a dose. I went through so long of like not taking my estrogen or my blockers when I was still on blockers. So take exactly the dose that your doctor tells you. If you feel like it's wrong, make sure that you continuously go get your blood checked, go see your doctor. But yeah, just don't miss a dose, and take photographs. Like at least like once a month. Do like little body checks and see where you go, because it's so easy to not see any progress when you see yourself every day. But take progress pictures, trust me. If you've gotten FFS, how long after being on HRT did you wait to get it? I have not touched my face at all yet. I plan on doing a whole, unpeel my face and put it back, but I don't have the funds for that because that's really expensive. So I do typically hear from trans girls to wait 2 years before getting surgeries. That's partially for insurance reasons, and that's also because you're not fully developed until about 2 years, especially with top surgery. So if you are a trans girl that wants implants, for example, getting it before you're done developing can make them sort of like cone shaped. So just wait, I would say like 2 years. Feel it out for 2 years, especially if you're young. Oh my God, just wait it out. How can I make my masculine shoulders look smaller? I have that problem. I didn't have hips for the longest time. If you can, try to get some clothing that can accentuate your hips to sort of balance out the shape. It is so important to master the art of the silhouette. Otherwise, do like this sort of stuff where it's not just like shoulders. You know what I mean? Like I have my hair in front of it. I have this sort of draped over my shoulders, bigger t-shirt where the shoulder seams aren't at the shoulder, but it's lower. Experiment and find what makes you feel comfortable and what makes your broad shoulders look a little bit more slicked back. Also, I like push my shoulders back, like think like this versus that. It's not good for your posture, so I don't recommend doing that, but I think a lot of us do. As someone close to getting SRS, what is the best way to prepare for it? Journal. Journal, journal, journal. I wish that I journaled more before, during, and after my surgery. Well, not during, can you imagine? Like, journal about how you're feeling, any anxieties or fears, because it's a big surgery. So of course, no matter how excited you are to finally get it, you're gonna be nervous. So journal, maybe watch some videos of people, maybe don't, because sometimes it's a little bit concerning. Make sure that you're right with your own mind. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water. Follow their exact recommendations for, not eating a certain time before surgery and enemas and all that super fun stuff. But yeah, make sure that you are mentally ready for it is number one, because the healing process, the first month of the healing process is very difficult. I'll be real, it's really hard. How do you determine what surgery you want versus need? I struggle drawing that line. A lot of us do. A lot of us do. And I actually want to make a whole video about this. I used to want my entire face rearranged. Still kind of do. But that is a want, not a need. So examine yourself naked in front of a mirror, find what parts of you are the most urgent. I think that sort of want will fade away in time because you can't just get all of them at once because it's very expensive. So that will fade away in time. Also, like, manage the content that you consume. So I actually blocked Nikita Dragon. I'm so sorry for saying that. Nothing having to do with her. More so she's so perfect and so surgically altered that I will never look like that. And it just made me hate myself. So I had to stop consuming that, but go off, queen. I've been taking estrogen pills for like half a year. Should I switch to injections? I get so many questions like this. I don't really know why. I'm not a doctor. So ask your doctor, ask your endocrinologist, your primary care, whoever you go to, ask them. In my experience, I have done both injections and pills. I'm currently on pills. I switched from pills to injections and then back to pills after SRS. I felt like the effects of the injectables were more significant, but also I would do it like, I think like once a month or something, or once every week maybe, and my levels would spike and then drop. So that didn't work for me, but it does for some people. One huge tip though is if your pill, like I take estradiol, which is estrase basically. If your pill says take it sublingually, like under your tongue, do that. For years, I was just taking it as a pill. And then in college, my trans friend was like, no, like it works better if you put it under your tongue. And I did. And I was like, holy shit, there was a huge difference. So just follow the directions. Listen to your doctor, please. Hi, sorry, I don't mean to be weird, but in terms of orgasms, is it just the same as a cis woman? So sorry. I have never been a cis woman, so I can't tell you 100%, but I have full sensation. The best way I can describe it while remaining monetized is it feels exactly how I expected it to if I were born with the right parts down there. So it looks great, it feels great, no complaints. I would say it's the same, but I have no way of knowing, so. Where the fuck do I start? How did you transition so early? The process is so difficult for me at 17. I started early because my parents were supportive. Now don't get it twisted. It wasn't like I told them I was trans, they threw a party for me and got me on hormones. It took a lot of therapy and a lot of conversations, as it should, honestly. Step number one, always get a therapist. I'm gonna make a whole like timeline of a transition soon, but get a therapist. Number one, therapist, and then tell your primary care. What was the scariest thing to deal with before transitioning, and how do you deal with it? I think the scariest thing before transition was my mind. I was so miserable 24/7. Now I still get sad. I would still say my baseline is like pretty sad, despite what you see me generally. Like I was just, I'll censor the word, but I was suicidal. I hated life. I was not interested in living it. And I was looking for any way out because I was so uncomfortable. So that was definitely the scariest part pre-transition. And I dealt with it by living my authentic self. And I'm so glad I did. And I will never look back. How bad does dilating hurt? It doesn't, except for like the first week or two, or maybe first month of getting surgery. I've been transitioning for about 18 months now, and I try to pass, but still don't. How do I not give up hope? Do you want to see me at 18, what was it, 18 months of transition? If I'm brave enough, I'll put a picture here. If not, just imagine this, a lot worse. And I transitioned young, and like a year and a half into my transition was still not super pretty. Because while you are physically developing, yes, your skills and understanding how to hold yourself and how you look will improve and change over time. So don't give up hope, because I did not wake up looking like this. I'm still not perfect. I have a lot of work to do. And I'm like, what, like 10 years into my transition now? Oh my God. So don't give up hope. It will happen for you, but it's called a transition for a reason. It's painfully slow, but you will get there. How do I accept myself and stop hating my body? When you find out, girl, let me know, because it is brutal out here. I think the thing that has helped me the most, other than of course transitioning and surgeries, whatever, is body neutrality instead of body positivity. So sort of seeing it as like, I'm not worth any more or less being more or less beautiful. My body is, I'm an able-bodied person. And even if you're not, you have parts of you that are able-bodied. And for that, we're lucky. You know, my legs bring me somewhere. My voice that I fucking hate so much is the same voice that my mom hears when I call her to tell her that I love her. It's neutrality and understanding the function of one's body over its appearance. That's easier said than done, but it's a really important practice. I'm terrified of starting to present as my preferred gender in public. I feel like I look so masculine. Anytime you start, it's gonna be hard. Honestly, no matter how much prep goes into it, no matter how many surgeries you have before you come out, whatever, it's gonna be hard. And I think a big part of transitioning is getting a thicker skin and just tuning everybody out. So you have to live your life. You have to live it for you and no one else. So if you're walking down the street, you're afraid of getting looks or people saying something, put both headphones in, pretend you're in a runway. Yeah, you gotta just live your life. It's not gonna be any easier to be closeted. So just like be out, I guess. I don't know. How to accept that you are a trans person and how to get rid of the shame. I don't know if this person means like pre-transition and you're trying to accept yourself that you should come out, or that you are a trans person and you wish that you were cis like me. Being trans isn't a bad thing. No matter how many people in our lives might tell us that it is, no matter how many people down in the comments down below are telling you that it is, there is no shame in living your authentic truth. I think if anything, the people that are making you feel bad about living your truth, while they might not be trans, they're jealous because they have something within themselves that they themselves are hiding or holding back because they're not supposed to show it. But who makes the rules? We do. So time to step up. Do hormones change your facial features? Not really. I mean, like, kind of, I guess. It did fill my cheeks out a little bit, and some people say they saw their lips get bigger. I didn't really see that. It's smoothed my skin was the number one thing that I noticed. Other than that, it changed my fat distribution. So like if I'll come closer, hold on. So if you see right here, this like kind of connects. Before, this was a lot more sunken in, like up here, like that. Yeah, see, that is very masculine, but like that's not, oh, let's not push me back, girl. But like it's rounded out my face. That's about it. It doesn't do much, but it's something, I guess. Does HRT affect the hips at all? I know it varies from person to person. Yes and no. It does depend person to person. I have some friends that have gotten 0 hips from getting on hormones, but I also have friends who have like crazy good bodies that I know didn't get worked on to their hips and they look incredible. So for me, hormones didn't do much for me at first because I was skin and bones, so I didn't have any fat to redistribute. So as I gained weight over the last 1 to 3 years, I have noticed a big change in my body shape. And yeah, so if you are on the skinnier side and you're not seeing any results to your body, try gaining a little bit of weight, see how you feel, because it will change things. What was the first 6 months like after SRS? Could you work out? I do have a whole video about my SRS experience and the months following, so I'll link that right up here. I could not work out for, I think, like 3 months. I could be wrong. Your doctor will tell you, so it's gonna depend surgeon to surgeon or like what type of SRS you get. But I would say like 3 months. At least wait until you're cleared to have sex. In my opinion, wait until that, because you don't want like extra blood flow. Like, are estrogen injections the best place to start, or do you feel it doesn't matter? Like I said, I have a million questions like this. My answer, ask your doctor. Don't ask trans girls on the internet because we don't know and we're idiots. How do you handle with your friends who know you as your dead name? I don't have any friends that know me as my dead name. If your friends refuse to make a real effort, cut them out, babe. What are you doing? Because that's not a friend. That's someone that is just stuck in their own ways. Make sure that they're actually making an effort. Correct them when you can. They should get it. If they don't in time, bye, because it's really not that hard. How did you deal with the gatekeeping? That is interesting. Do you mean by other trans girls? If you're talking about like the medical community and like insurance and stuff, keeping that away, it's a whole other video. But amongst trans girls, that's why I made my channel, because I'm giving y'all the blueprint, the pink print, if you will, because no one talks about it. Girls will be like, oh my God, like, yeah, my body's so natural, like my hormones just made my hips grow to here, when you know they've been seeing, I almost name dropped. When you know they've been getting work done, we'll just say that. I think really it's just a matter of watching videos like this and meeting trans girls that you can speak with honestly and candidly, because a lot of these girls out here will lie. Did you hear that? Who was that? That's crazy. Will lie about the work they've had done, the type of work they've had done, and yeah, so take everything that you hear, including from me, with a grain of salt. How to / best ways to tuck on a low budget. I would say make a gaff. If you want a whole video on how to do that, I'll do it for you. Otherwise, look up, it's GAFF, how to make a gaff. How many feminizing surgeries did you get other than SRS? I have gotten SRS, which is sexual reassignment surgery. I had a tracheal shave. I also had a breast augmentation. And that's all the surgeries that I've had so far. And lastly, to close off this video, my favorite question actually is, when did you start feeling like you are who you really are? I think people expect a lot of the time that when you see them backing up and getting crisscross, you also know how it's real. People expect when you first transition that you get on hormones and you feel affirmed immediately. You're like, oh my God, like the gender euphoria, and that happens to a certain extent, same with different surgeries, but it's an internal journey that takes a long time. I transitioned at 14, so I also had to go through regular teenage stuff. I had to develop as a human in addition to being a trans girl. I think I really settled into who I am towards the end of my college experience. That was just sort of a time in my life where I was settled in. I wasn't constantly thinking about being trans. And I also wasn't resentful of being trans. That's also what made me start my channel, where for so long I was like so ashamed of being trans. And it's something that I'm working on still, if I'm being honest. But it's important to learn to love and accept your body and yourself the way that you are. Now, I understand that sounds counterintuitive for someone that's gotten a bunch of different surgeries. Getting these procedures, starting these hormones, dressing differently, getting your makeup done, they're nice and they help, but it doesn't make you a whole person. Only you can. Just know that it's a journey and you're not gonna feel like the woman you're supposed to be like that, but you will one day, and one day sooner than you think. All right, you guys, thank you all so much for spending your time with me. I really had a great time. It was actually a super easy video to film. So if you want more sort of like advice Q&A stuff, let me know in the comments down below. I am thinking about making a course. I want to make a course on transition. I want to make a course on making your business or your home more trans friendly, or your classroom more trans friendly. There are a lot of different options and I have a lot of knowledge in that field. So if you're interested in that, again, let me know in the comments down below, because if you actually would appreciate like a package tutorial on any of those things, let me know, because I could really take the time to sit down and lay that out for all of you. All right, you are all the absolute best. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel down below. And if you are not already, make sure that you follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I am so much more active on there. And if you want to participate in a future video like this one, make sure you follow me there, because that's how you interact with me. Hello. You are all amazing. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. And until I see you next week, good luck. I love you. Bye.